before you actually just skip forward into the intro and just keep pressing the arrow, just wait a little moment and let me be a YouTuber and actually announce some stuff. First of all, I actually do have a Twitter at 𝗘𝘃𝗃𝗏, which I'll leave it in the screenshot down below. Let's see if we can reach 100 followers. I'll try to just post everything from my main channel and also my second channel right there. And yes, speaking of that second channel, I actually do have my second channel, JonNario VTuber channel, which is my second channel. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers right there. So yeah, if you want more stuff outside of Trove from me, I actually made the first playthrough on the Yakuza 0 video. And yeah, so if you want to actually see more of me of other games, I have a second channel for that one. So once again, let's see if we can reach 1,000 subscribers. And like always, make sure to drop a like. We're reaching a goal of 50 likes in this video, because it actually does help out with the algorithm. And also make sure to comment on the video and let me know which class would you like to see in the next episode. And lastly, it's going to be, make sure to subscribe on the channel. We're trying to reach 5,000 subscribers. Let's get it. Alright, did I actually do a good job? No? Okay. But yeah, on a serious note, those things really do help out. So yeah, let's see if we can actually just get all those milestones. Alright. And also the 𝗘𝘃𝗃𝗏𝗏 video was the last video that I actually had an artwork for it. The remaining 40k PR video are going to be in-game characters. And yeah, those are going to be all the things that I just wanted to say. And yeah, enjoy the 40k PR video on the Revenant. Welcome to the 40k PR project. In today's video, I'm going to be going with my Revenant. My Revenant is going to be currently sitting at 40,678 power rank. And here's going to be my stat, and you can pause the video if you want. My hat, weapon, and face are going to be base crystal level 4 with movement speed, attack speed, and magic find on all pieces of gear. Movement speed is going to be because I always use movement speed on every single class, including DPS classes. Same with attack speed. If your class benefits from attack speed on your basic attack, always use attack speed, especially if your class uses a lot of the basic attack, which the Revenant is one of them. Magic find on every piece of gear, because I sometimes use this class on lower portal with speed spears and just go full lawnmower, and so magic find it is for me. This class also has really good survivability, so I really don't need more maximum health, but maximum health really does help out. Same thing with like physical damage on face. The burst damage on this class is still pretty good, so I don't need more physical damage on my face. So yeah, those are going to be all of my stats and my reasoning on my gear. Now, let's move on onto the rings. Speaking of speed spears, Crystal level 3 Magic Find Speed Spears Ring, the Lawnmower Revenant. Made 2 videos about it, which I'll leave in the description down below. Now, I will always recommend you to use speed spears on the Revenant because it just makes the class feel much better. No movement speed penalty with speed spear makes the Revenant super consistent for dungeons and very good in terms of momentum building. Both extremely good traits for dungeons. I will highly recommend you to get it. As for magic find on the ring, same reason as the gear. Since this class has no energy regeneration is useless. I am already at 100%, so I don't need critical hits, so magic find is pretty much the best option for me. And yeah, more magic find really doesn't help because more drops. And yeah, those are going to be all part of my gear. Now let's move on into the rapid fire section, which is going to be something that you're going to hear every single video. Ready? Alright. Ally is an animated job because of movement speed. Banner is permanent torch because I will be swapping this with every single class. Free range electrolytic crystal as my food because easy 300 light. Martial trailblazing as my emblem because damage and movement speed. Standard speed farming emblem. And the only thing that I will say that I would recommend is Beamer, maybe. Because more burst damage, but this class already has pretty good burst, so I don't believe Beamer is necessary. Same with Unyielding because survivability on the Revenant is among the best in the game, and the only noticeable cooldown on this class is going to be the ultimate ability Spirit Storm, but you are mainly going to be using Spirit Storm for bosses rather than for everything. So Trailblaze and Martial are going to be your best options. Conjurer's 𝗘𝗃𝗿𝘆 is going to be my Flask because 13.4k magic find should be pretty obvious onto why. Personal Song bar subclass because movement speed, and like I will always mention, this is the best speed farming endgame subclass in the entirety of the game because of that insane movement speed percentage buff. The other two good options is going to be Solarian if you want a little bit more burst, and Knight subclass if you want more Flask. Yeah, the biggest weakness on this character is going to be movement speed, so that's why I will personally pick a movement speed subclass. So yeah, I will be using Personal Song. Now, that's going to be my gear. Now let's move on to custom combination. The hairstyle is going to be the Captain's Cavalier, which is a hairstyle gotten from the store Celestial's Call, which is a store pack from originally dropped from December of 2020 as a bonus store pack during Snowfest 2020. This is not going to be part of any custom, this is just an extra hairstyle that you get if you get this store pack, which is going to be part of the store category rather than just being a class custom category. So yeah, that's going to be the hairstyle. The custom is going to be the Hobby Horseman, which is going to be from the newest store pack, the Scarab's Ease pack from the Shadow's Eve 2022 event. As of the time I'm making this video, this store pack is still available, so get it while you can. And I actually made a video on the store pack, which I'll leave it in the description down below. And the weapon style is going to be the Sunbird Spears, which is a spear part of the Radiant style, which is weapons gotten from the Radiant Ruins biome. And yeah, that's going to be everything for my gear and my custom combination. Now, let's move on into my gems. Like always, I will be scrolling over all of my gems, starting off with Water, Air, Fire, lastly Cosmic, while I explain all of my Empower Gem ability in that same order. Starting off with the first ability, which is going to be Stun Burst. The reason of this Empower Gem ability is mainly because of stats. This gem is fully augmented in both damage and critical damage because this is the same gem that I actually did use back when I used to use the Revenants for speed runs in Shadow Towers as a tank, well over 3 years ago. So yeah, this is the same Empower Gem that I had, so mainly I just have this Empower Gem for stats. The second ability is going to be Aegis Assault, which is going to be the class gem. Also notice this class gem also as well is fully augmented in both damage and critical damage for the same reason as the first ability. Always get the class gem on any single class, this class being no exception. It literally reduces the cooldown on your Bulwark Badge from 5 seconds to 1 second. It's kinda underwhelming as a class gem, but I mean, it makes this ability somewhat spammable, so no complaining on that one. Ability number 3 is going to be Paradise, and I'll say this once, and I'll say this every single time. This is the best Empower Gem ability out of all of the regular Empower Gems. Give it movement speed, doing damage, very easy to proc, good crowd control. Always use it. And ability number 4 is going to be Vampire and Vanquisher. If you're using a speed farming class, you should always have either Paradise and Vampire and Vanquisher, or both. Both of them are going to give you so many benefits from dungeons. Vampire and Vanquisher will give you a plus 20 base movement speed increase with a very easy to proc, and it is going to be huge for any single class in terms of speed farming. This class has no movement speed buff, this one it is much more important. And the lifesteal doesn't hurt, even though this class doesn't need it because it already has that same lifesteal as part of the passive ability. But I mean, I guess, same lifesteal, it does stack with the passive ability, so more survivability, so why not? And yeah, that's going to be everything for my Revenant in terms of my equipment. Now, on to some final thoughts. There's a reason why I was debating whether using this class or the Candy Barbarian, because this is going to be another class that fits in the same category as that class. Candy Barbarian, Knight, Vanguardian, Revenant all fit in this specific category of physical damage classes who uses basic attack and one ability for the most part and run with it. Candy Barbarian with basic attack Spin to Win Vanilla Whirlwind, Knight with basic attack Overcharge Spirit Squire, Vanguardian with basic attack I-Beam, Revenant with basic attack Speed Spirit Spears. And yeah, those are going to be some of the more common things that you're going to see between all those characters. All of them are close range characters, they are extremely consistent, high damage, incredible momentum, but not the fastest classes. Maybe with the exception of the Candy Barbarian, but the Candy Barbarian average is usually much lower than its actual potential. The potential is really high, but the average is much lower. The Revenant is going to fit in the same category as all of those classes that I just mentioned. It is very high damaging but slow class. It has a basic attack that is extremely high damaging, but it is slow. Out of all of the classes that I just mentioned, this is the second highest damage, but the slowest out of all basic attack, doing a 4.2 times damage multiplier, which is not a joke, but the attacks per second is going to be a low 1.25 base, which is among the slowest basic attack in the game, but that 4.2 times damage is no joke, it's really high. You will be using this all the time, so still use it, it's still going to be great because of the high damage. Speaking of high damage, Bulwark Bash is going to be your main spammable ability, quote unquote, I mean that. But you might want to consider using this ability if you're in the end game, because the damage on this ability is extremely high. And by end game, I mean like around 45,000 power rank or above with over 10,000 light, because this ability can do a staggering 9.5 times damage multiplier. That is really high for an ability, and combine that you can just combine this with the speed spears or spirit spears while being active. You can legitimately just one-shot bosses with both the Bulwark Bash and also using the spirit spears, especially in Geo top side. So for a player around my power rank at 40,000 power rank, it's still pretty good combination, but the basic attack will do better. But if you are in the end game, you might want to consider using Bulwark Bash because it might be a stronger option. Speaking of Spirit Spear or Speed Spears, is going to be the next thing that I'll be talking about. Spirit Spear with Speed Spears Ring Effect. This is a great combination. Not the best in terms of momentum ability, even though it really doesn't lower your movement speed whatsoever. Out of all of the 4 classes that I just mentioned, that thing goes to Spirit Squire because literally does that with more damage and more range. Even still, it still does a really good 2.5 times damage multiplier at its base. And sometimes if you actually do hit an enemy when you're running into an enemy, sometimes it can just hit up to 3 times immediately, making this ability do an instant 7.5 times damage multiplier. For the most part, it's going to hit twice, which still is a 5 times damage multiplier instant ability that you can literally combine it with all of the things that I just mentioned, Bulwark Bash and basic attack. It's really good for that, and it actually just helps you out in maintaining movement speed buff active. And again, this is completely extra damage, so there is like no drawbacks in just having this active. Maybe the only drawback is just that it does take maximum health every single time that you have it active, but even still, despite that, you can easily just use Flask while you have that ability active, so it's not like you cannot use your Flask, so it's still really good. So yeah, Speed Spear with Spirit Spear is really good. Combine that with the fact that there's the ultimate ability, which is another extra damage ability that can pull enemies with incredible good crowd control, and then not to mention their passive ability, which is a ridiculous passive ability, giving you essentially a free death-defying vial that will also summon a minion and giving you 50% of your bonus physical damage for 75 seconds, and the cooldown is also 75 seconds. So whenever you have the physical damage buff, that's when the cooldown is, like, that's when you can still just get killed, because the death-defying portion is going to be on cooldown, which is 75 seconds, which is extremely short cooldown. And when you're on cooldown, you still have like more damage, which does help you out with like I just mentioned, Spirit Spear momentum building, Bulwark Bash one-shotting, basic attack, shenanigans and all of that, and burst damage in general. It just gives you more physical damage. Not to mention, this passive ability also gives you the 5% damage lifesteal, which is really good, by the way. It's the same damage lifesteal that you do get with Vampire and Vanquisher, which is based around how much damage that you actually do. It's not based on your HP, it's based on your damage, which is the reason why Vampire and Vanquisher is so good. And yeah, you can actually just see that you have everything on this character. You have consistency with burst damage with Spirit Spear, with combination with the high damage in basic attack or Bulwark Bash, with the passive ability giving you more damage. The high damage multipliers, again 4.2 with basic, 9.5 with Bulwark Bash, is extremely good. Not to mention the Spirit Spear having a potential doing 7.5 if you can actually just hit it sometimes, like immediately. It does have the really high damage multiplier. It does have incredible momentum because Spirit Spears with Speed Spears actually removing your movement speed penalty completely. You're completely free in just using that. And overall, this is an extremely easy to use class. This class is among the easiest classes in the game, giving you that insane survivability, good crowd control, and that insanely high damage. The only problem with the Revenant is going to be the lack of a movement speed buff. And it is going to be important because not all the time you will be with all of your standard movement speed buff. And also, if you're comparing it to another character, other characters do have a movement speed buff, while they can maintain that movement speed buff equally or better in some cases. That is going to be a little bit of a problem considering that Spirit Spears is extremely close range. So getting to the enemy in order for you to actually just get that movement speed buff, it might take a little while, and during those downtime where you don't have enemies to kill, you will literally see that that lack of movement speed coming into play really heavily. I will always say this, it is extremely good in just those aspects, and like damage and ease of use, multiplier, momentum building, all of that. But the only problem is going to be the lack of movement speed buff, which will end up hurting the character when you don't have all of those things to just get full advantage of your momentum building. And not to mention that the crowd control, despite being so good, is still really close range. So again, for momentum building, it will hurt a little bit, and that is going to be a disadvantage if you compare it to any of the other three classes: the Candy Barbarian, the Knight, and the Vanguardian. All those three classes have either more range or are faster because of movement speed buff, and in the case of both the Knight and the Vanguard, faster and has more range on both cases. Doesn't change the fact that this character is one of the easiest classes in the game, but that is definitely something to just keep in mind. Despite the lack of movement speed, this is one of the better characters to start with. It makes the class just extremely good in terms of all around, and just a class that I will probably just give a shot if you're just starting off the game, because it's one of the easiest classes in the entire game for you to power up. So give this class a shot if you haven't already, and you're going to see that this class is a very good pick to main. And that's it. Thank you for watching, thank you for sticking around as always. Once again, leave a like, we're reaching to 50 likes in this goal, and let me know which class would you like to see in the next episode in the comment section down below. Check out my second channel if you want to see more of myself, which I'll be doing more stuff that I normally don't do in my main channel as part of the second channel that is not trove related. Let's get to 1000 subscribers on the second channel, and let's get to 5000 subscribers on the main channel. Also follow me on Twitter at 𝗘𝗃𝗃𝗃, which I'll leave that in the description down below. Let's see if we can reach 100 followers. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care and keep on hunting. See ya.